now that you've created a query that searches and finds all payments that have been declined, you now need to present that information in a more user-friendly way. In other words, you need to present that as a report. I'm just going to run this query for payments declined. So as you can see, all the information is presented as a table. That's not always the best way to present information, so you might want to customize how this information is presented. And to do that, a report can help us do that. Okay, so I'm going to quickly show you how to do a report. Just going to close this for a minute and go to create. We're going to create a report, but we're going to create a report using a wizard. Okay, so click report wizard. In here, you're going to select the query that you're going to base a report on. So the query that we're going to base this report on is the payments declined query. So I'll select that. Now, I've got a choice of what fields to include in that query. So what I might want is obviously the member ID, their title, first name, surname, their email, their order date, and also the download ID or the order ID. I really don't want to show payment declined yes or no, because I know all these are payments that have been declined, so there's absolutely no need to include this field, so I'm going to leave that. Click next. This bit here is just to show you whether you want any grouping in your data. In this case, I really don't want any grouping, so I'm going to leave this as default and go to next. I'm going to go next as well for this one. You can then decide how to sort your data. You could sort it in order of the date, so it's sorted all in numerical order or ascending order of order date. And then go next. This bit determines how you want your report laid out. Because there's not much data in that report, so it can fit in portrait. Sometimes if you've got a lot of fields, you might want to set your page as landscape, but I'm quite happy to leave it as portrait. You just leave it as stepped. You can experiment with different types of layout, but stepped layout is quite good, so I'm going to leave that as it is. Go next and give it an appropriate name. Now reports must have a prefix RPT to show that it's a report, and this report is for declined payments. So just name that report declined payments. Here you can preview your report, so you open it in report view, or you can modify it in design view. So for now, I'm just going to preview it so I can look at what needs to be done to modify it, and I can do that later on. I can modify it later on, but I'm going to leave it as preview the report and click finish. So this gives me a preview of how my report would look like. Now the hashtags show me that the column is too narrow, so it's not fitting all the information. As you can see, you've got a lot of space which is wasted here, which we can close. The member ID here is cut off, so I can stretch the member ID field so all information shows clearly. So to make changes to this, we're going to have to go to design view. So go on to design view, which basically can here. If we close this print preview, then that allows us to go back into design view. So member ID needs to be stretched so that it fits in nicely. So by the way, this represents the title, this represents the actual data. So the title or the field names are all here, and this is the actual data. So as you can see, my member ID is still not showing clearly, so I can resize the title. It doesn't need to be that big, and then move it slightly the right. Also move the actual title. So this is the field name that you see at the top, and this is the actual data, the actual title. So just stretch this so the member ID field clearly shows. I'm going to close our gap by moving the title, so the first name further to the left, also move the actual data, and then I can resize this because some of these are too big, they don't need to be that big. Again, move the surname to cover that space in that gap. Do exactly the same thing here. So I'm simply customizing and modifying my reports. So if I go back to form view, you can actually see that the member ID is clearly showing, you've got the title showing, you've got this first name and the surname. There's a big gap here which needs to be closed. So I'm going to go back into design view and then shift this email address field to cover that gap. Do exactly the same for the email address. The date needs to be shifted as well, and then stretch it so the date is shown clearly, and then do exactly the same for this. Preview. Okay, so this is too narrow, the column is too narrow, I need to make it a little bit wider. So make this wider. If I go back, you can actually see that the date is now clearly showing. Okay, I'm not quite sure why there is no information here. Probably there's a problem with some of my data. But that's it. That's how you do a report. But as you can see, the title needs to be more suitable. So I'm going to go into design view and rename this as, give it a heading, and shall we call this what requires. Then I want this in a different line, and client name is on a different line. To do that, simply press Ctrl and then press Enter. Do that again, so I'll show you. So from here, you want to press this new line, so I'm clicking at the beginning of that. Hold down the Control key, press the Enter key, and that is now done. Okay? So you might want this all centered. So if you go here where it says Format, and see Text Align, you can click on that drop down arrow and select Center. You can also make this bold by going on to Text Weight, Font Weight, change that from normal to extra bold so that makes it bigger. You can also make the heading a little bit bigger by changing the font size, let's say to 24. You can also change the colors. You just drag this down slightly so everything is clear. Cut off. To change the color, you go to for color, click here, and there's a color palette. Okay, preview, and there we go. So that's much better. A much better way of showing it. Okay, so hopefully you can create your own report to present your payment validation. I've just noticed that the email has been cut off. So again, if you go back into design view, and make sure you stretch the email address field here. So let's see. Okay. There we go. Okay. So that's quite nice. There's so many things that you can do with this design. You might want the titles here to be bigger and bold.